All right, let's continue. All right, so where I left off, thank you. Welcome back as well. So where I left off, I think what we wanted to do next was actually send a mutation to our server. Material design or ant design. I think I like just the material UI library in general a little bit better. But I also like using it because it's a little bit more popular. But the ant design one's not bad. You want responsive design with styled components. Well, you could write your own responsive stuff. It is not too bad, but you will have to do some learning. Alright, so what I think I want to do is start generating the types for my front end. So let's get rid of all this stuff. And we're heading over to Code Generator. So this is an alternative to using the Apollo CLI. And the nice thing about this is it's going to generate not only the TypeScript types, but the components for me, which is nice. Alright, just so you know, your site is blacklisted by Google. Oh, it's blacklisted? So if I go there right now, there's just like this ad on it. I personally haven't added any content to it, so I'm guessing that's what's going on. Like, I just haven't added stuff to it yet. So hopefully when I add content, it won't be blacklisted and whatnot. Alright, so we're going to add Code Generator on the front end, and these are going to be dev dependencies. We'll add the generate script. So here we're going to pick, hey, what's up, dude? So here we're going to choose the plugin React Apollo TypeScript, which, I don't know, what is this one called? I guess just React Apollo maybe? So that's the only one I want to create, I think. And then we might add more if this doesn't generate what I think it will. And again, I'm just going to generate types.ts. Though I think this might generate a lot more than just types. So what should I name this? Let's say GraphQL Components. And let's put it inside of components, I guess. And I'm going to rename this to Apollo Components. Hey, what's up, Adrian? Yarn generate. So React Apollo requires the extension .tsx. All right, let's see what this created for us. You know what? I think we need to give it some queries first. So I'm going to create a folder called GraphQL. And inside of GraphQL, I'm going to create So the question is, do I want to, yeah, I'm going to split it up by feature. So I'm going to say GraphQL, user, mutation, and in here we're going to put register. Do I want .graphql? Nah, let's just do .ts and make it simple. So we need to give it a name. How long have you been programming? I think I started programming, I guess we can do it like this. So I started around 16 years old, and I did web development at 18-ish, and then I am 21 now. Alright, so we did input. Now we can pass the input type. I'm just going to copy and paste this. Why are you not changing the VS Code theme? I don't know, I just kind of like the default dark theme. What theme do you use? So I think I need to tell CodeGen where to look for things. I'm guessing I might also have to include common, by the way. We may need to turn this on because we don't want namespaces. I'm not sure the difference between the Typescript Client and the Typescript React Apollo one. I guess we'll have to generate it in C. So let's go to options. This is what we need to pass in our documents. So for us, it's going to be inside of source, GraphQL, star.ts. Alright, so we couldn't find anything inside of source, and that's because we don't have a source directory. Alright, so I found an error in the document, so there's probably a typo somewhere. So usually what I do is I just copy and paste this into Playground to see what I did wrong. And make it pretty. And I want to move this over. There we go. Yep, we just needed to have it required. We're going to get rid of the source. Do you know how to reset VS Code themes and so? I don't. Well, that's not good. Right now I do not have TSLint turned on. I may add it if I need it at some point. Looks like we may need the Typescript Client. Looks like some types are missing. So we'll add the client, and that's this. And I misspelled. So I want to see what this client generates. Okay, this seems helpful, except for it's not generating that. So I'm guessing we would need to have the common directory with it for it to generate that. Hey, could you talk about what you're doing? Yeah, so right now, what I'm trying to do is I have TypeScript set up on the front end, and so I want to generate types for my mutation. And I also want to generate components, which we're going to see in a second. So I don't have to create the Apollo components myself and add types to them. This will auto-generate it for me, hopefully. But I think I'm missing something, because when I add React Apollo and I generate, it was getting an error. Do we not have the error anymore? Sweet, looks like it's working now. Basically what this allows me to do now is over here, pages, register, is I can say register.component. And we're going to wrap this. And now we're going to have type safety on this. At least, I believe that's the goal. Let's see what this actually returns to me. Really, it gives me as any, so it has no type definition. Basically what I wanted is I want to know what this type is, and I think this is a type any. Wow, that is sad. I thought it wouldn't do this. Yeah, this is just sad. Alright, we're going to do this manually, I suppose. Well, no, they're passing in the props like this. Okay, good. We still have the type definitions. This particular thing is just a function as the first parameter. Alright, so when we submit this, we're now going to call that. I'm going to make this async. And this first parameter is going to be basically our input. The second thing, we can reset the form, which I actually don't think we care to do. How are you holding up, man? I'm actually doing pretty good. Just had lunch and I took a nap, so now I'm feeling pretty good. And I think we're going to start developing stuff quite quickly after we get this register and login form done, so I'm excited for that. Alright, so here's where we're going to call the register mutation on the server. And let's see what the response is. What'd you have for lunch? lunch, I had this chickpea soup thing. If I go to response dot, so I think I have to check whether the response exists that we get back. And if so, we can check if we get any data back. So basically, if we get any errors from the server, what we want to do is we want to say set errors and normalize the errors. So I am getting set errors as the second parameter here. And now we need to create this normalize errors function. And we're going to return that. Does the policy provide a higher order equivalent to the mutation component? They do. So what I could do, dot higher order component, and I can access the higher order component that way. So yeah, this is a little ugly that I have two nested rendered props, but we're just gonna run with it. So I'm setting the errors, and here I'm going to, I want to navigate away from the screen if it works, and I also want to set submitting. So let's create this navigate. Well, we'll look at how to navigate in Next.js in a second. Let's normalize these errors. And I think I have a function for this already in my full stack project. Yes. So we'll create a utils. Normalize errors. So this is just going to take the response that we get back from the server and return it in a different format for the client. And what we just did is, okay, it doesn't like the namespace. Well, let's fix that problem real quick. So I can set no namespaces in the client. And I have no idea how to set parameters to these things. Let's see if they have an example. I guess this would be like how Docker Compose does it. So let's just go through each example until we see. So plugin name here. Okay. All right, now let's generate the types from that. Bad addition of a sequence entry. All right, we have another namespace. though it doesn't look like it affected it. All right, we'll not worry about that then. There may be no way to avoid namespaces with this, in which case we can't use this particular code generation, which is not the end of the world. So if I get rid of that, I'm guessing we get rid of the namespaces. No, there's still one namespace. Do I have to say no namespaces on common as well? Thanks, Steve. Haha, there's a ton of namespaces. No, just one. Maybe we don't need common. What happens if we get rid of common? I feel like we needed common though. Yeah, we need common. Let's see if they have a setting on common. Scalars, avoid options, schema namespace. So we're going to set this to false. Because that's set, no, default value is true. Or sorry, false. How do we get rid of namespaces? Avoid optionals. Well, there might not be a way to avoid namespaces with this. All right, we're moving away from this library then. And we're going to use Apollo tooling. So I have overwrite to true, so it's going to be overwriting it and rewriting it each time. It looks like there's just no way to remove namespaces entirely. So we'll go ahead and use just the Apollo CLI. So I'm going to say yarn add Apollo. So it's a little disappointing because it's going to be a little bit slower, but that's okay. I don't think this will generate the types. Well, it'll generate the types, but it won't generate the components for us. Which is not the end of the world. It's not that much extra that it generates the components. Now, let's hope that Apollo doesn't use namespaces. I don't think they do. Let's see, did I use... Yeah, let's just copy this. And we're going to call this generate. Alright, so here I was saving it to lib/schema types. That seems fine to me. So I'm going to get rid of this component, Apollo component thing. And add the schema types there. Maybe there's a flag called output I can use. Now there's going to be some flag that I can use to specify where I want the file to go. Maybe they'll have it in the example. Yeah, last one is output. All right, we'll try this one more time. And I'm going to just read the error message better. And also here, I'm going to say GraphQL. Maybe it doesn't like that I put a // here. So we're getting a warning that doesn't seem to be a problem. For some reason, it's not expecting the lib/, it's not expecting me to put that at the end. So I'll remove it for them. No provider is created. Hey Galactica. No provider was created for config. I wonder if Apollo wants you to create a config. Let's see the code. Oh, they're just showing us literally the code for it. Okay, so it looks like I can create a config for this. Alright, we're just going to install a later version, or an earlier version. So what version was I using this? I was using 1.9.2. Alright, so it looks like something changed in 2. Hey async, good to see ya. Here we're gonna say lib/ schema types. We'll just put that back. And we're just going to close that, reopen it. So close to generating. Let's see what we have. Oh yes, we need to add a resolutions. though this is going to have problems with, because we're using, maybe we need to add resolutions. We'll try adding resolutions and see what happens. I need to reinstall it though, to even see if that would work. So now we're going to move this to the root package.json and see if that has any effect. If not, I know a trick to get around this. Awesome. So that worked, and all this was to generate just some TypeScript types. But we finally got it working, so we can now continue on. So Mutation is coming from React Apollo, and VS Code is lagging. All right, we can just type it ourselves. And I'm just going to go ahead and just restart the TypeScript server then, because it looks like it's like just infinitely. And then here's where we're going to import our types and our mutation that we wrote. I don't think I'm logging the response. I'm thinking that worked. All right, so it's already taken. So we're gonna have to change our error message on the server. And here we're going to say username already taken. Cool. So now it's going to tell us the emails. Oh, it's going to take a second to restart. Email already in use. Cool. And I think we're done with pretty much done with the register form. I just need to navigate the screen on success. Do I have to use NextRouter to do that? I think I need to use NextRouter at some point because I want to have clean URLs. All right, let's go ahead and add this then. So does pretty much everyone use this library whenever they're doing Next.js then? I think I can do router.push or something like that with next routes, I'm guessing. Oh, you can do it from, I guess this just simplifies it. What's wrong with React Router? Can you use React Router with Next.js? The page commit receives the matched URL. Cool. And then on the server, what do I need to do? Where do they use that? Routes.get requested handler. Okay. Okay, so that's how I would do it without installing this library. Might as well set this up now because I think I'm going to need it later. Yeah, it seems like something they should just kind of have out of the box. All right, so they need to use it like that maybe. Oh, I should actually see how they do authentication with Apollo. All right, pages. All right, so they do it inside of the get initial props. Okay, we'll probably look at this in a second. We'll probably be implementing that. It's not happy with it right now. Can try that, I suppose. Let's give this an uppercase then. All right, so right now I have a register, and I'm going to say .add, and we're also going to have a login. You can use this pattern too to check if a code reviewer pro has been approved, so they can get an access. Yeah, exactly. Okay, if we're not using production. So now, get rid of this. So now we don't use next. Do I use ts node here? I think I do. I think I say ts node server.ts. So in that case, I can also install node daemon, and we're going to exec. So do I need to change anything? Hey, Brenton. Oh, that's cool. You're from South Africa. What part? Are you near the ocean? So I need to have a different ts config for my thing. Oh, nice. Oops, we don't want to go there. Oh, I think I only used the dev version here. I didn't actually use the setup ts node. So we need to set up a ts config that works for the server. So here we're going to say tsconfig.server.json. And the module, we just need to say to common.js. And we're not using the DOM here. And we're not referencing anything. We're not using anything with composite stuff. And so I don't think we need to add that. I think we can just say ES6 there. And now how do I pass that and tell ts node to use that? Remove. Let's grab that. Awesome. So they have actually a ton of good examples. Okay, -- project. Am I related to the fighter? I don't think so. Alright, is there anything on that I want to change with my ts config that they have? Okay, so they just copy the ts config from that, and then they change the module to common and change the include. So here we're going to include server.ts and routes.ts. Is this just a type, or is this a thing? Yeah. Alright, let's see if we can figure out how to get this to work with TypeScript. Yeah, okay, so we just need to do it like that. No, it's not happy with it. What about if we do that? Still not happy with it. Here's what we're gonna try. We're gonna say false. Nope, still not happy. Alright, so they import routes for next. Alright, cool. So he solved it with this. Alright, let's just copy that. Type routes has no compatible call. So if I remove this, it's going to be unhappy with me there. What if we just say anything? Here they have a thing about TypeScript types. Let's see if we can find an example. Oh, that's what I was doing wrong. You're right. I just totally misread the example. Thank you for that. Still doesn't like it. How about that? You know, I'm not even gonna bother with Node Daemon because we're not gonna make a lot of server changes. And I feel like it's a little slower to start up. And it's not listening for the routes either. Okay, now I can't remember all the combinations that we've tried. So let's go back to the example that worked, or at least that dude said that worked. And let's just copy it word for word. Because this is the exact problem we were having. And let's see if there's anyone else said anything. Nope, no one said anything else. Okay. So import star as create routes. So I have that. We have that. We have that. And then we export routes.add. I would leave the NextRouter package. Oh, you're talking about not even use it? All right, I guess. Yeah, I can't think of anything else to try. I could search for an example. All right, yeah, I guess we'll just put this off till a later date. Alright, so what was the example that we could do it directly? There we go. It's easier to do what you need from the main next package. Is there a reason you're not using next links? Oh, the only reason I'm not using it here is I want to conditionally change the route, and it's going to be after I submit the form. Dude, hurry up. You are so far behind, man. Really? What is everyone else? How far is everyone else? I definitely am spending a lot of time on useless stuff. I would agree with that. I spend a lot of time on authentication and stuff, which has nothing to do with the product. But we're almost done. Alright, so we went to login. Let's go ahead and log in page. How long ago did they start though? So the way this competition works is you could have started yesterday. So far, I've only worked for a couple hours. So now if I log in, if we register a good user, let's refresh. Does anyone know what this warning is about? So nothing happened. The longer you code, the more your brain will slow down. That's why it's important to start strong and worry about the little quirks at the end. Yeah, that's the plan. But yeah, it was probably unwise to try to set up all this authentication stuff right from the start. Of course, this user array is going to be taken because I just... Okay, that means he was successfully input. Let's create Ben. Okay, so we're getting an error. Or, I think what happens is what it's returning. Why is it only showing me options? It should show me the mutation itself. So what I think is happening is it's returning an array. So we need to check the length as well. Nice. Taking me to login now. Now, it didn't actually render the page, which is weird. And that's because I don't have a default export. Cool. So we are going to create this login page super duper fast. Because I go like this, and I paste it over here. So what do? Well, let's write the mutation for it. So we could get some errors back and a user. So I'm going to generate the types now. Okay, validation error. That should be login input. Yeah. Let's put this just in playground. That'll be the fastest. That's good. Will you be uploading the whole 24-hour video once you're done? Yep, I'm gonna be putting it on YouTube. We're having a problem with resolutions again? I added it to the package.json in the root folder, so I would have thought that would not come up again. Oh, that seemed to fix it. Does YouTube allow 24-hour-long videos? I actually don't know how long it'll allow it, so we'll have to see. So while that's loading, we're going to say email or username. We're going to say login. What is it expecting? Okay, the inverse. So username or email. And let's change the label too. Feel like it's username or email. And again, we can use pretty much the exact same logic here. Otherwise, we're just going to say login success. The other thing that I wanted to do is just say if we're submitting, we disable the button. So we should add that to the register as well. All right. We don't need a schema here. And this should call the login mutation.